This is OverDrive on TSN 4, TSN 1050, and the iHeartRadio app. My name is Brendan Dunlop. Not a stranger that you don't already know, Ed Sheeran. I've been here for a few days, but I got a new co-host today.
What's up,
is Dave Feschuk. Hello again, Frankie Corrado. What's up, man?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's
Good
been a
week so far?
Nice couple of days. We've had a lot to get into.
Yeah.
People upset we're not talking enough golf. So
Oh, yeah?
Brought you in. We'll talk a lot of PGA
We're going to talk a
Tour
lot of golf
Championship
today. We got Lawrence Applebaum, my guy, on the show later on.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. You were just talking about how you put some makeup on for this.
Well, we are on television.
We are on television.
You are a TV guy.
I know. So for television, I always put makeup on. I'll get in the makeup chair. But for this, I feel like I'm just going au naturel.
Well, that's because you're younger than me. You got better skin.
Dude, I'm weathered.
Well,
Like, I'm 30, but I'm a weathered 30. Does that make sense?
I mean, you got more miles on the legs than me.
I got miles on my face, man. I got I've been hit in the face with pucks. Like, I got scars. I have this one was a skate. I got sticks.
Yeah.
It's getting more weathered. It's not going to go the other way now.
But you've also lived a much better life than me. You have life experience.
That's debatable.
Yeah.
You live a pretty good life.
I do. I'm not complaining about my life. Just saying, in terms of a professional athlete weathered at 30 versus like media veterans still can't get into a sleeping pattern in his late 30s.
Right. Sleeping has
saying.
become much easier for me post-hockey. During my career, I had such a difficult time sleeping. I was taking like melatonin and magnesium, and then I started wearing the earplugs, and then I had the eye mask, and I needed like the noise machine.
Right.
Now,
like a baby.
Dude, now I hit that pillow and I'm out in 4 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Are you able to be consistent now, though? Like, do you find yourself even within the same 60-minute range going to sleep every night?
Dude, when I want to shut it down, it's lights out and it's curtains and it's done.
Look
at
this guy.
It's gone. And during the season, like when you're doing television, we're doing late night hits, Sports Center, 1 a.m. I can have a 1 a.m. Sports Center hit, get home at 1:30, fall asleep in the same amount of time as if I just didn't have to work that night and went to bed at 9:30 and it's curtains.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're sleeping better even though you're sleeping probably very inconsistent.
The summer's been good. But
there you go. I'm envious of that because I did the late night highlight show routine for a long time.
I know, man. I used to watch you.
But I still kind of like sleep in that cycle because my brain functions at that time. It's not that I really need to give you NHL highlight packs or talk about touchdown passes at 1 a.m, but all of a sudden my mind's like, I feel creative.
You could if you wanted to.
Let's write 1,000 words. Shall we write a book again? And like that's it. So if I don't get to bed like before midnight, which never happens, then the brain just starts firing. And it's not like functional things around the house. I'd love it if I'm like designing the backyard, which I've put off all summer long.
Okay.
Getting someone to.
Dude, that's going to next summer.
Oh,
now.
Well, it might go to the summer after because I got to get somebody to design it first. Right, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
A bunch of people are like, oh, do the work, but tell me what I'm doing. Get it all designed.
I've got a little project now that I need to get done. So I just recently started doing some stuff. Like I put together one of those shoe kind of like pull-out shelf thingies that you attach into the wall. Yeah, like my wife reads the instructions. I piece it together. It's teamwork. But now she thinks that I'm actually capable of doing these things. So there's now more things being assigned to me.
Oh, that's it.
So now there's like a bench for the end of the bed. That contraption doesn't really do much, but it's nice. It's for show. You put a blanket on it. So I have that. The other thing, I have 2 things that I really need to get done before the weather gets bad.
What's that?
I got to put in the doorbell with the camera.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that requires power tools. That's not my forte, right? Like screwdriver, hammer, wrench, I could do that. I don't own a power tool, so I'm going to need to find, I need to outsource that.
Yeah.
And then I need to do the thermostat one. The nice looking thermostat that isn't the old kind of clunky thing.
Yeah.
So I got
the one you control with your phone.
Exactly. So what's that, Grappler?
I'm saying if you need to outsource this, just get going on the Jiffy app, then. That's what Hayes is going to tell you.
That's what I'm hearing right now. I couldn't get my air conditioner going in the middle of the night. Thank God for the Jiffy app. I called Jim. He was there before I woke up.
Is Reg Dunlop doing Jiffy hits today?
Reg, you know what? That's actually one of my favorite nicknames.
Yeah. You must get reg all the time.
No. I got it once at the old work once.
Okay.
And then it stuck with a few of the hockey guys that heard it, but I'd never in my life heard it before.
I'm only referring to you as reg now.
I love that. Yeah, that's great.
I
do wear number 7. And men's league, I was playing for a team, Wings and Wheels, because that's what we would eat afterwards.
Right.
And we had the Detroit Red Wings, the crest, but there was a proper pie in there. There was a pizza in there, which is what I usually throw down the middle of the ice quite often.
Are you a defenseman?
Number 7? No, not defenseman.
Okay.
I'm a liability.
So you're like a high-flying forward. You're a liability.
I'm a forward.
You'll throw like pizzas through the middle of the ice, but you have some offensive upside.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, there's a few goals in there. Since becoming a father, I've scored more.
Okay.
Yeah. Scored at co-ed league soccer last night.
That's dad strength.
I think it might be a bit of dad strength or just like picking the moments. I think I used to like exert a lot of energy. Like I just got to look busy, right? I got to look like I'm fit and just be out there, look like I'm hardworking, and then I didn't have any gas to do anything.
How different is your game from that of William Nylander's?
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Like, obviously you're not William Nylander, but the style of game, like, are you back checking a little bit more? What are you doing out there?
I'm thinking I'm probably more like Michael Nylander after one of those fantasy camps.
Have you been on a lot of different teams? Is that why?
Have a good night. Yeah, I do bounce around the men's league, the Adult Safe Hockey League. Yeah, it used to be west. Now I'm out east.
Get this goon off our team. Hey, you know what that just means? More teams want you.
Yeah, I don't know about that. My team lost in the playoffs, summer league playoffs. It sucked.
So that's it. It's over now.
Now we got the 3 weeks to wait for the winter season.
Yeah. Are you working on a new contract?
I need to work on some new gloves. Is what I actually need.
No,
I'm hoping to stick around. I think I outperformed expectations. I scored more in the summer season than I did in the winter.
Yeah.
There's fewer games in the summer, so that's not saying very much. But I was finally getting into a rhythm.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Well, William Nylander is hoping to stick around. It sounds like, anyways. We heard from him today. Like he broke his silence. So he's been talking about it. Willie Nylander says he likes Toronto, wants to be here, but he doesn't understand why everyone's in such a rush to get this deal done. I get it. He does have one more year left on his deal. Mm-hmm. It's not uncommon for a player like that to go into the last year of his deal, play it out. And I would say this, like Willie scored 40 goals last year. What did he have? 87 points. Like he's probably established a certain bar for himself financially that is going to be available to him.
Sure.
Right? So why does he need to lock in right now? He says he likes being a Maple Leaf. He's saying all the right things. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of incentive this year to go out and have a big season for the team, right? That obviously wants to win, wants to get past the second round of the playoffs now. But also, like, this is his opportunity to cash in on a long-term deal. So he's got a lot to play for. And like, I think you just want to play out the whole season or get going in the season and get off to a good start before you say, well, why did I sign it before the season when I knew I was going to have, I had an opportunity to have a 95-point year in Toronto.
He's in a much different situation than he was last time, right? And I think he probably looks at the last situation, may have some regrets about it. I mean, he did have a pretty poor performance when he came back once he finally signed the deal. I think there was a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
The weight of the money, the holdout, he didn't make that any easier on himself, like in this market. I think it held over him a lot longer.
He held strong in that situation. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Hard to do as a player, right? To go that deep into the season and then join a team. Like you're just trying to hit the ground running with a train that's moving full speed. It's very, very difficult. But I will say, like, he bounced back in a big way. He's always been a very consistent performer for the Leafs in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You can almost say that we haven't even seen the best of Willie yet. Like, he just had his best season. He's coming into his own. I don't know. Like, he could have a big year here. I don't see why he would want to, jump at something now when he can play the whole season out.
He knows, though, that he is the tradable piece.
Yeah.
Right? He knows that if push came to shove and it's going to be decided by the employer, like there's only so much power that the player actually has.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, he knows he's the one that's most appealing or attractive to be dealt.
Yes.
So I can see actually the other side of it where you kind of feel like, look, if these numbers are right, if they're even coming close to what your actual valuation is, do that for the security that they're not going to move you this season.
Right. I would say in the NHL, like there's always, unless you have that no movement clause, there's always a risk that you can get moved. Like he's got I believe it's a 10-team no trade or no move right now. But for Willie, like he's kind of established this level of production. There's a certain dollar value that goes with that. So I don't understand why he would be worried. The other thing about, moving on or potentially getting traded, like you talk about, it's pretty complex. Like the Leafs are a good team. They want to win. I don't see how a deal moving on from Nylander without a contract extension done would make them a better team. Who's coming back this way that makes you a better team? I don't see, like, you're not bringing back young pieces. You're not bringing back draft capital or prospects. You're trying to win right now.
Yeah.
You need William Nylander. And at the trade deadline, you're going to go out and acquire or try to acquire a player like that's going to help you win right now. So it doesn't, like, the whole trade thing doesn't make sense.
It's that win window, though, that you want to look at and say, oh, a 3-year win window. Yeah. But it's shorter in Toronto. It feels like it's 2, and they still got to do some things in order to get it right. So if you commit to this guy, you get stuck in more cap trouble. Like this is a never-ending cycle for the Leafs, being stuck against the cap.
It is, because the cap never moved. Like when those contracts were signed, Matthews was essentially a blank check. Here you go. Like, what do you want? And how many years do you want? Marner signed a 6-year deal. He didn't commit the full 8. Tavares, if you go back and read what was being written at the time, he had taken less to come to Toronto. Now that contract is, far overpriced for what you're getting from him, but it is what it is. That's what it costs to acquire the number 1 UFA target who wants to play in
25
your hometown.
teams would have done that deal.
Well, exactly. And you also have to remember, going back and doing that deal, was that was the guy from Toronto who's a superstar, biggest UFA, who actually wanted to come home to Toronto. They had just missed out on Steven Stamkos the year before.
Right.
And for years, the narrative was guys don't want to come. Like the homegrown guys don't want to come to Toronto. And the management groups had taken so much flack for going out and getting too many Swedish players, or, we have too many Americans on the team. Why are we not, we develop so many great players here in Toronto. Why are we not having those guys play for Toronto, right? So like that was the moment that the organization said, we're going to bring this guy home because he wants to come home, and we're going to change that narrative. To their credit, they did, but you would have wanted to have the success by now so that contract is like, looking back at it, okay, it was worth it because we went through all these great playoff runs, and hasn't been the case. So now at some point, the Matthews contract is going to get done. We'll see if Nylander's gets done and what that looks like. And then, in 2 years' time, it's like Marner and Tavares are coming off the books, as well as, a lot of UFAs. I believe it's 13 UFAs coming off the books this year. So this team, you talk about the window being, very, very short for this team.
Feeling short.
Could look very different. It just could look very different. It's just this group, the way it's constructed as of now, is coming to an end sooner rather than later.
Do you think Leafs Nation resents that Tavares contract?
I don't know if they resent the contract.
I don't think so.
It's just it's a casualty of the cap not go. Like that was another one that was signed with consideration that the cap was going to go up,
right?
And it hasn't. And like if you go back to that 2016, 2017 team, okay, that made the playoffs and people weren't really expecting them to. They lost to the Washington Capitals. They took them to 6 games, and I think that the talk at that time was, well, that's bonus points for the team.
Yeah,
it's
ahead of schedule.
Yeah, it's ahead of schedule, and they just got it. They got to dip their toe in. They got to see what it's like, and eventually, man, like sky's the limit. And then year after year, first round, Boston, Columbus, Tampa, and then it's like, well, those like 3-4 years of the cap going up, Tavares being a little younger, it's like, okay, we've wasted those years now. So I think that's where people maybe have the resentment. But at the time, everything, kind of seemed to make sense about it. And, to John Tavares' credit, he scored 47 goals his first year. Like, it's not like he came in and was a dud. Like, he's been a very consistent point producer.
Yeah.
It's just, drive it at $11 million, you got to drive play at 5-on-5. Like, we just saw it in the playoffs. Like, Vegas, they absolutely dominated at 5-on-5 every series that they played in. So there's your recipe right there. At $11 million now, I think people expect the points to be there, but for him, it's going to have to be a lot of power play. Anyways, we've gotten way off track.
No,
but
it's all good hockey
really,
talk about balancing the team, balancing the books, man. It's not an easy thing to do.
It's not an easy thing. And now with I'm sure Matthews gets done at some point. Nylander, like probably entertains it more. Like he's saying all the right things, right? Yeah. I want to be a Leaf. Toronto's the only place I want to play. And you have to kind of just take it for face value what it is.
Is that winning over the fans, though? Because I talked about the last time where I think he had the fans in his favor, and he sat out, and like a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by. I forget what their record was when they started, but it was this constant narrative that hung over the team until he was back. And then he wasn't great out the gate. So do you think this is to make up for that? And
there's a way to play it.
Situation?
Listen, there's a way to play it, and every player knows, every agent knows, and you're not going to veer off the script, right? Like anytime, it's funny, when a player has a bad season, the narrative is this. It's, oh, I love it here. I want to get this thing done right away, because you want that reassurance that you're like, I just had a bad season. They hold the leverage. They hold the cards here. I'm going to tell them how badly I want to be here just to have this thing wrapped up. Meanwhile, a player has a good year. Like Nylander had a great year. He's like, what's the rush? Yeah. I'm healthy. I'm a good player. Just had a career season. Probably have an even better year. I love playing here, but, what's the rush? Let's play it out. Vancouver's going to go through that right now. Elias Pettersson, number 1 centerman, right? Like he's talking about, I don't want to focus on the contract right now because I have a season to play. And he's a restricted free agent. He's got arbitration at the end of it. But he's saying, I'm not thinking about that right now because I want to get off to a great start this season. And then he's probably the one player now that the conversation is going to come up. Why is he not, saying it's got to be 8 years? Why is he maybe going to do a Matthews 3 to 5 year deal, wait for the cap to go up, and then, lock in again when his percentage of the cap can go up even more, right? So I think when players are coming off very good years, they're feeling healthy, they're feeling confident, they're looking at it saying, okay, yes, I love being here, I love playing for this team, but I know in my head that if I get off to a good start here and I have a really good year like I just did last year, I'm going to surpass whatever I thought I was going to make if I signed that extension at the beginning of the season or before the season.
Does Pettersson still have to do the Grouse Grind, or is that only for the kids?
I think you got to do
the whole team. How many times did you do it?
A lot.
Part of the team.
Yeah, I did it a lot. We used to have to do it. So if anyone doesn't know what the Grouse Grind is, like it's this. I don't know how long it is. In
1.9 kilometers.
1.9 kilometers.
I know this because I just did it last week.
Okay.
Legs are on fire.
What was your time?
Buddy, I just getting to the end was the goal here. Okay. It's not about the time. I was carrying a baby for about a quarter of the way.
Yeah.
Passing off to the missus. She threw it on the back in the carrier.
Good
flew up the mountain. But me, I'm watching experienced hikers go by me.
Yeah.
I'm watching children. I'm watching Scandinavians, strippers. Everyone's walking.
Strippers too.
Blowing past me.
Wow.
I was just happy to make it to the finish line. I'm playing hockey once a week. Playing soccer once a week. I thought I was in shape. That's a different type of fitness.
So if anyone
climbing a mountain.
Know, it's a hike up a mountain, but they've made stairs out of this. So essentially you're just doing stairs, but they get steeper and steeper as you get higher up the mountain.
It's uneven stairs. At some point you're like climbing the stairs.
Yeah.
It's not a simple stair stepper. It's not just like going up the flights at the mansion.
No. So we used to have to do that at development camp. That was our grand finale every year at development camp. Then we would do it again at training camp. And then the 1 year I went out there to train and work out a little bit early, Trevor Linden was the president of the team. And he wanted us, Trevor was like, let's go. We're doing the Grouse Grind like once a week. So every week at the end of our training sessions, we would all head out there. And, we always tried to beat our times. Every time I did it, I felt like I got more comfortable with it. It's one of those things where, the first time you're not sure what to expect. When do you pace yourself? When do you go?
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, you're like, okay, I know when I can run up it. I know where to kind of like hang out a little bit. So it takes a few times of doing it and understanding it before you get a good score.
I feel like I'm going to do it again this summer. Like I need to go back. It punched me in the mouth.
Get your time. I need to know your time.
Your first one is always your worst one. I feel as though the time is irrelevant.
You should be 60 minutes, like less than 60 minutes.
Less than 60? You know what? I think it was less than 70.
Yeah. But okay, if you
so
did
isn't that a good over/under for a rookie?
Dude, you did
again,
it with the
carrying
kid.
a baby.
Yeah, if you're carrying a baby, I'll give you a pass there. But if you're doing it by yourself, 60 minutes got to be under.
Okay. Well, we'll see how we pass it off.
Anyone who's listening in Vancouver, tweet us in your best score on the Grouse Grind.
What's your best time? Do you remember?
I do remember, but dude, we're not going to talk about that.
You could just drop it. I'm very curious.
Under 40 minutes.
Under 40 minutes.
Under 40 minutes.
Okay, nice.
Put it that way.
I wonder what Pedersen's time is.
He's probably better than me.
Maybe
he's
a little bit.
Freak. He's a freak. He's a good player, and he's going to get paid a lot of money.
Yeah. He will get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
I like where you took that conversation. The best pre-show meetings are on air. I've always said that. Did you watch the Blue Jays last night?
Yeah.
Open up with a big win over the Orioles?
Yeah, big win, man.
Was saying all day yesterday that, like, this feels like, and we're at that time of year where you say, oh, this is the biggest series, the most important series of the season, until the next one. But this is.
Yep.
Chasing the team at the top of the division. The Orioles have been very difficult for the Blue Jays to beat this season. That was a massive confidence boost to pull it out in extra.
That's exactly what it is, and it just felt like playoff baseball, right? Where you're kind of hanging off every pitch, every at bat, and sort of the unsung hero kind of guys are getting it done for you. Brandon Belt, he had a great game. He ends up with the home run in the 10th. And listen, man, like that's what it takes, right? It takes a complete team effort. Kikuchi gets into the 5th inning, gets in some trouble, and the bullpen takes over from there. And they did an unbelievable job. And obviously that's why you go out and acquire those players. It's why you bring in a Jordan Hicks. It's why, you value Jordan Romano so much. But if that's the kind of baseball we're going to be watching down the stretch here, it's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be very entertaining. And when the star players, start kind of carrying their weight a little bit more,
right?
It'd be it's pretty exciting. Like Vladdy right now, he's not in a good place.
No.
He's not in a good place. Like he grounds out into a double play early on in the game. 70 double plays this is since 2020 for Vladdy. Like he's a double play machine right now. But there's other guys that are carrying the slack, so this team can stay competitive and stay in the mix.
His OBP's okay though, Vlad.
Right.
That's just one number, right?
Yeah.
But when you're someone like him, to go back to our hockey conversation about the stars and how consistent and still performing and productive John Tavares was, not at that elite level that made him the number one talked about person when he was in New York. So it stands out now that he's not the guy, but one of the guys, and not performing as elite as the other guys. That this is the situation that Vlad's in, right? Where he is the superstar for what he does with the bat, and he's not doing it at a superstar elite MVP level.
No. And maybe we've come to expect too much. Like maybe it was just, I don't know. Like that's the question right now, because if you put together, in 2021, it was a great year for Vladdy, right? 2022 was a step down. We're in 2023, it's another step down. So are we ever going to get back to that form? Are we going to see that? Because, right now he's swinging on the first pitch with 2 men on. It's a double play.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you're at the plate. You gotta invoke some kind of fear into whoever's pitching. I don't care if it's the Orioles, like that are a great team, this well-oiled machine. Like you got to be in the same conversation as some of the heavyweight hitters in the league. And right now, it's not the case.
No, you got to find that groove. And you're right. Like he's swinging early because he's probably trying to get it back. Right? He's guys get desperate at the plate. We see this all the time. They hack away. The good thing about the Blue Jays yesterday is they realized it was worth hacking at the ball, and they came through with the runs and the hits in the end.
Yeah.
And they got a good opportunity, I think, to do so again tonight, to win this series, beating up on Don Kramer, who's been all right, but he wasn't supposed to be the guy. It was supposed to be Jack Flaherty pitching for the Orioles tonight.
Yeah.
He's got an ERA over 5 already. I think in 2 starts against the Blue Jays, he gave up only 3 runs over 11 innings, but gave up 17 hits. So hit off this guy early.
Yeah.
Hit off this guy early, and don't put Vladdy in a situation to hit in a double play.
And there's kind of like two narratives that have followed the team this year. Like tight games, it seems like it always goes the other team's way, right? And if there's a no-name pitcher starting out the game, like that guy's going to have the night of his life. And so that can't be the case. Like last night, they did a good job. It's tied at 3 going into the 6th. Jays win that game. That's, you know what I mean? Like they lost that game way too many times this season. So at least, there's another positive going forward here. We could be in for some exciting baseball. Like the Mariners don't seem to be slowing down. And that's the thing that's unfortunate right now for the Jays.
Well, they're also playing Chicago. Like it's cyclical. The Jays cannot play with that level of consistency. We haven't seen it all season. How they played last night, they won't consistently do that for the next 6 weeks. But if they can do that against teams they're chasing, if they and do that against the better teams that they're trying to be like or beat in the playoffs, then that's enough, and that'll be enough to get them in. Yep. This is a huge week for them.
For sure.
And they get that second game tonight. They'll be
and their schedule lightens up a little bit too.
It does. We'll get into some hockey talk in the next hour. Joe Bowen's going to join us. We'll talk. Actually, we're going to talk a lot of college football with Joe Bowen. Do you know this? He loves Notre Dame. By the way.
I've heard.
I remember the Seahawks had lost in the playoffs. They were upset in the first round. The Leafs were playing one of those Sunday night games. I'm in the car and Bowen's doing it, and puck goes out of play. And he says, "Oh, the NFL games have just ended, and Pete Carroll is a loser." And he starts laughing, like maniacally laughing. And I'm just like, where did that come from? Like out of nowhere. I don't think I knew about his Notre Dame fandom as deep as it was, but it made that Sunday night Leafs broadcast very, very entertaining.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll speak to a very entertaining character in the next segment, actually. Michael Fassbender is going to play him in a movie. How's that for a hook? This is Overdrive on TSN 4, TSN 1050, and the iHeartRadio app. Back on Overdrive, my name is Brendan Dunlop. Happy to be alongside former Toronto Maple Leaf Frankie Corrado on Overdrive, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Got into some good hockey talk in that first block, my friend. We'll get into some more with Joe Bowen in a little bit. We're going to talk with Thomas Rongen in a few moments. Lionel Messi's been all the talk because of the League's Cup. But on the hockey topic, the NHL looking at a best-on-best tournament. Why flirt with the Olympics when you can just create something else yourself?
Yeah, they did that in 2016 with the World Cup of Hockey.
Which I thought was good, and I thought that they would keep consistent. But as it is with the NHL, man, they're always looking for something new.
But you know
Don't
what?
let it stick.
I didn't mind the World Cup of Hockey either. It was met with criticism, though, right? Like the Team Europe, people didn't love that. People didn't love the Team North America. But this is narrative now because at the time, I remember them putting that North American under-23 team together and people saying, what a brilliant idea to get, some of the game's youngest players together on one team, guys that may not make their national team, and we'll have them in the tournament. McDavid, Matthews, like all these guys, and they were very captivating, very exciting. McKinnon, I don't know, it's a little goofy, but it provided great entertainment at the time.
Great entertainment. And what's wrong with that? I mean, it's not as though they sent an under-23 team and this North American team to the Olympics.
No.
They were creating their own tournament in the absence of having the Olympics to participate in.
Yep.
Do you not want to see the best players like in a summer showcase?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I had no issues with the way they did that. I just wanted them to keep it consistent and do it 4 years later.
Yeah.
If you weren't going to go to Beijing, which I think they all knew.
Well, they knew in 2018 they weren't going, right? Like, I think that was Pyeongchang.
Yeah.
So they knew they weren't going then. And then there was, some optimism that they would go to Beijing. But when that fell through, I think just best on best has just fallen by the wayside, right? And I think now people are, like, realizing that McDavid's only getting older. This guy hasn't played, for Canada at an Olympics or anything like that,
And that's the thing, right? Is like you've got the superstars that sell your sport globally. Like they're not going to win over any more hockey fans in this country ever, right? In that you're not going to build any new like Oilers fans in the Edmonton market. Like you want your best to be seen by the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And you need to do that in an international format. It's very much an international game. It's not the NFL where it's only big here in Germany.
Right? Yeah, I know. And I guess England, like I feel like they go to England every year too. Do they not?
They do, and it is sort of big in England. I get a couple radio requests for some NFL chats on TalkSport. Yeah, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys with Brendan Dunlop, which I always find is very fun.
That's very interesting
to get into. But it's I want to see the rest of the world see what we see.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to get it. Like, and the other thing. As much as McDavid is, and Matthews and McKinnon, these guys are in the prime. We have some players now that are aging. Guys like Crosby, guys like Ovechkin, Geno Malkin. Like there's some guys that like there's a few more years left. So it would be nice to get, the best of both worlds there as far as best on best hockey and really get a chance to see, a couple generations of unbelievable superstars in the league.
Right, which is the perfect setup for our next guest because as a color commentator for Inter Miami, Thomas Rongen has one of the best jobs in the world. Very happy to bring on a former coworker that's made me laugh more than any coworker I've ever had, Thomas Rongen. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, Dunny? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, and you make me smile as well. So that's a good combo.
Well, TR, anyone who's listened to Inter Miami games on the radio, on the internet, or has seen you on BN Sports knows that very few people can speak about the beautiful game as beautifully as you, my friend. You are in Miami at this incredible moment in time for American soccer. What has it been like to see Messi mania take over Miami?
Well, let me first rewind a little bit. That gives your listeners some perspective, obviously. I came to this country as a 21-year-old when Pele, Johan Cruyff, the big boys, from Bob Lenarduzzi to many other Canadian internationals that played in the NESL. You know, New York Cosmos obviously was the biggest team. And that was a watershed moment in terms of introducing the game to Americans. The 94 World Cup obviously continued that trend. The start of MLS, which generated a lot of excitement, although with 12 teams and 2 owned by the league. And then you get the David Beckham DP effect as well. And fast forward to Messi, I think there will be a before and after Messi, not just for Inter Miami, but for the whole league as well. I'm sure you guys have talked about it. But to be able to witness that every day, I'm at training at least 3 times a week. I'm in all press conferences. It used to be, because I was here from day one, Thomas Rongen, Phil Shane, Chris Whittingham, or Michelle Kaufman from the Herald. Now there's hundreds of people, media, at practices as well. So it's been incredible. It's been incredible for me at 66, going into 67, to be able to travel to Nashville, call the game from Nashville, be on the field afterwards with this exceptional team right now, led by, you know, we all know the GOAT, the best all time, but also has the ability, by the way, to be very humble, to enjoy the experience. You look at his children, his wife, and he makes players around him better, which great players do. In particular, you know, Martinez, Taylor have benefited from that, and obviously Alba and Busquets have been additional pieces that have put Inter Miami over the top and should be considered going forward probably the favorite in every game they play.
So from what you've seen on a day-to-day basis there, whether it's practice or around game day, like how much has Messi immersed himself into this team?
I mean, you saw the gesture starting with an ability for him to score a hat-trick. And he knew at the moment when we drew a penalty that it was more important for Joseph Martinez to take that penalty because he was in a bit of a slump. He's done that twice to Joseph Martinez. I mean, he could have easily been at 12 goals in 7 games. And then another gesture, which sums him up pretty much as a teammate, is giving the armband after DeAndre Yedlin was asked by Tata Martino, the coach, it's your choice. You can give the armband to Messi, but I totally understand if you don't. And Yedlin did. And then just before they lifted the trophy, Messi actually walked over to Yedlin, seeked him out, put the armband on him, and then both hoisted the trophy. I mean, that's Messi to a T, outside of the fact that he's exceptional on the field, obviously. He's also exceptional around the team, around media, and more so around his teammates.
It's a classy move to give the armband and share the trophy lift with Yedlin. That was all over the internet afterwards, which I thought was a very classy move by Messi. But 10 goals in 7 games. He's made it look so easy. And I mean, he's made football look easy his entire career. This is not a new thing. But what do you make of the people that say this makes a mockery of the league? This makes MLS look bad, that Messi looks so good?
I mean, I was very fortunate to be at BN Sports when we had the rights to La Liga, so I called a lot of those games. Phil Shane and Ray Hudson were really the number one team, but I called some games. The last 2 years, Phil and I have probably called 90% of the PSG games. We all follow the World Cup. And this guy has done this throughout his career, has done this in May for PSG still, where he put up a double-double, where he schooled Guardiola where he schooled Virgil van Dijk, where he schools a Zimmerman that plays for our U.S. men's national team, where he schools Thiago Almeida, one of his teammates that was on that team that won the World Cup that plays for Atlanta United. So don't tell me, and historically, I think if you talk about the U.S. Player, we have great goalkeepers. We're defensively strong. We live off set pieces and be direct. That has changed now with the younger, more technical players. But for anybody to question, the defensive fortitude or skill set in MLS is absolutely ridiculous. He's done this from the age he stepped on the field. Brennan, I was the coach of the under-20 team in 2005 for the World Cup. We played Argentina. Messi did not start for that team. Messi had not made an appearance for Barcelona. He comes in the second half, although we beat them 1-0. They eventually win the tournament. We go out in the round of 16. So I've seen him appearing for Argentina, and then the rest is history. When he went back after that, Frank Rijkaard actually gave him his first start. And I asked him that question. What did you think of the 2005 team, which had Freddie Adu on it, another phenom, versus Messi? That was at that time not a phenom, but everybody knew that was a very special player in La Masia with many others.
Their careers went in different directions, Freddie Adu and Messi.
Exactly, but even back then he had respect
the cachet,
because we beat him on the day. Fast forward, and I said, what do you think now of the level of MLS and particularly young players? And both him and Scaloni, by the way, his coach, who was here for 2 games, they speak very highly of the level of play here. So that's hogwash. He's done it his whole career. So, no, this is an exceptional maestro, a skill set that's unparalleled, regardless who he faces, Zimmerman or Virgil van Dijk.
Well, and
it's dribble.
Well, and now he faces, like the standings, right? Like Inter Miami is last place in the Eastern Conference in the MLS, and now they're going to start climbing the standings. Like, is it fair to say that Messi being on this team can make this team a legitimate contender, just him being there, or is that still even too ambitious for this team?
No, I think, in all fairness, the treble is very much alive. Obviously, you got to win this game, the hardest game probably of. This is the 8th game we've played. Cincinnati has not lost at home yet in MLS. Got dropped the other day, so they'll be highly motivated. Pat Noonan is one of the more skilled tactical coaches, so he'll try to devise a plan like many other coaches have done for many, many years and always seem to fail against Messi, Busquets. The thing, though, is, Brendan, is now the amount of games played. He's played 7 games in a very short amount of time. For a month now, they've gone Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday. And as soon as MLS starts, it's 12 games. Let's say they make it all the way to the final. It's another 17 games. The Open Cup, 2 more. That's 19. Attached to that, if he gets called up for World Cup qualifiers, that's 4 games right there. It's impossible for him to continue. And Tata Martino said, hey, listen, sooner or later, something will give. He will start in the Open Cup, and then we'll take it from there. And we all know there will be tremendous pressure and maybe something already in writing that when he travels in MLS and sees opponents for the first time, where people are paying big dollars right now, but the expectation is that Messi maybe not start, but at least play, which I was forced to do when Freddie Adu signed for MLS. But the amount of games, sooner or later, are going to catch up, not only with him, but with this team.
Give me a 10-second answer, TR. Inter Miami making the MLS Cup playoffs?
Yes.
Oh, I thought, there we go.
8 seconds to spare.
Didn't need that extra seconds. There you go.
12 games. They got to win 9, I think, and draw 1. If they're lucky,
Woo!
you can
win 9 of 12.
8. Yeah, win. Yeah, if you're lucky, maybe if other scores go your way, you have to win 8. You can afford maybe losing 2.5. But yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against.
They could run the table the way they're playing right now.
Dude, this guy Messi scoring goals with 4 guys around him. And he's putting it in the top corner of the net. Like it's nothing. Like it's no big deal.
Yeah, he's making it so
I know.
fun. And like you say, TR, there's going to be we're going to talk about the before Messi era, and the after Messi area, which is pretty incredible. I want to talk about the movie that's coming out, the Taika Waititi Hollywood movie, Next Goal Wins, which is based off of a documentary that you were the centerpiece focus of when you were head coach of the American Samoa national team in 2012 for their World Cup qualifying campaign. What's it been like for you to be a part of this process? I know that you, as the film was being made, you were out there with Taika Waititi and with Michael Fassbender. What was it like to see one of Hollywood's biggest actors embody you as a character?
Pretty cool, I'll say. You know, I remember that you and I and a few other guys in our Fox days in TO talked about, hey, if somebody would play me in a movie, which will never happen, by the way. That's what everybody says. And my answer to the question is, it's Oscar and Golden Globe winner Michael effing Fassbender. By the way, supervillain Magneto in X-Men, Stelios in Spartans in the 300, played Bobby Sands, Steve McQueen, and Steve Jobs. And I'm calling literally Messi's games. How's your day going?
That's a great answer, man. You'll be up here for TIFF, for the Toronto International Film Festival. Is that the world debut of the movie at TIFF?
Yeah, that's the debut of the movie, and you guys might know this venue because I just got a word where it's at, and it's going to be in Princess of Wales Theater.
Yeah, it's the big theater. It's a big showcase, man.
Showtime, baby.
As you said, Michael Fassbender's playing you in a movie. You're calling Messi's games. How's your day going? TR, this was fantastic, man. I wish we had more time. Enjoy the U.S. Open Cup tonight. Enjoy Messi, and we always enjoy listening to you, man. I love talking to you. Thanks, TR.
Same here. Love you guys. Ciao. Thank you.
Thomas Rongen, honestly, man, one of the best. And he's right about what Messi's doing, that he's done this his whole career. Of course, he's going to continue, and it's not a reflection of how different the league is. It is a different league. But
he's probably going to do this in a number of other leagues around the world.
He'd be doing this in Saudi Arabia if he'd taken the 400 million euros from Al Hilal, which I still can't believe. But Inter Miami playing again, as he said, in the U.S. Open Cup. That's their version of the Canadian Championship.
All right.
So the winner of that tournament gets a berth in the CONCACAF Champions League. They've already got that because they won the League's Cup, which was a mesh of all 29 teams in the MLS against all 18 teams from Mexico. Yeah, 2 American teams in the final.
There you go.
Looks pretty good for
Game's
MLS,
growing.
doesn't it?
Game's growing. Just a little update on the Grouse Grind.
Oh, yeah.
So a mutual friend of ours texted in and said he did it in 2 hours, but he was hungover.
Okay.
And I also got word that this season, the fastest time is 27 minutes and 28 seconds.
For the Canucks?
No. Just in general.
Just someone's just clocking it?
This is the best.
The gift shop? What do you mean?
Yeah, they keep track of everyone's time, who's done it. Like, because you sign in at the bottom of the thing, you have a little, pass. Okay. You go up to the top and you swipe it, and it registers your time. And then it's on a TV screen when you get up there.
What? That's for the hardcores. I didn't see that.
Well, that's what you got to be doing next time.
Okay, so that'll make it official.
Shout out Jordan Gwinnett, 27 minutes and 28 seconds.
Wow.
This year.
Wow. Yeah. Was it Jordan that wrote in and told you his time?
No.
Somebody else.
I don't know. It could be. It looks like a burner account. It's just a screenshot.
No. I think I'll get the pass this time.
Yeah.
I'll prove it to you that I can do it.
We need it.
I can get to the top. That's it. All right. OverDrive continues. Lots more to come. We'll talk to Joe Bowen in the next hour. This is OverDrive on TSN4, TSN Radio 1050, and the iHeartRadio app. One of the things I love most about doing radio, especially radio and TV, is you never know what song the board op is going to bump in with.
Dude, JP's wild sometimes.
And I love the Rolodex that's available here. Like it's been the Taylor Swift show, like when I come into this place.
That's not when JP's here. JP hates Taylor Swift.
Is that it, JP?
JP doesn't like Taylor Swift.
No, he
likes Rihanna way more than Taylor Swift. Unfortunate.
You can tweet him at JP hates Taylor Swift on the X. You calling it the X, by the way?
I don't know. I just call it Twitter.
Still Twitter.
Yeah. It's just a cesspool.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
It's softened a little bit. They've screwed up the algorithm. I think they've. There's like a cesspool section. They've kept them like all together there.
Do you doom scroll? Do you know what that is?
When you just get sucked in, or when you go down something you don't care about?
It's more like you seek out tweets of people that you don't agree with and don't like, but you're like addicted to looking at it, and you shouldn't do it, and you catch yourself. You're like, why am I doing this to myself? But it's like this vicious cycle.
Yeah, conspiracy TikTok. But
you know what? Like that For You page, I find a lot of the stuff on the For You page is not for me.
Right.
But it comes up anyways, and I find myself, clicking on it, and I don't want to see this stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know how that happens. How that happens either.
Yeah, it's a lot of JP just hating on Taylor Swift, really.
Yeah, I guess that would be it.
Yeah.
I walked in here today, and the grappler was hating on me, which I didn't understand. He was texting in the morning, show ideas. He's always got show ideas. I said, look, my replies are going to be interrupted. I'm going to get a haircut.
Yeah.
But I'll reply in an hour. I walk in, and he goes, thought you said you're getting a haircut. I did. Well, I hope you didn't pay for it. Didn't look like it. What do you mean? I took a big trim. I had it was like a mullet hanging out from the camera one.
It was just a little maintenance work. That's all it is. Little maintenance work.
I thought it was a big maintenance work.
No, it's a little maintenance. Just some maintenance. Nothing crazy. You didn't have hair surgery up there.
Would I be able to play for Lou Lamoriello?
That would be you'd be on the line. Like it would depend on how good of a player you are, but I still think you might be pushing it. He might tell you to go get a haircut.
Too much length for Lou's team.
Yeah, he wants it tight.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I was never put in that situation because that would have been an argument.
Look at JP telling us to wrap. Let's get out of here.
The boss man. Well, we'll talk more hockey. We'll talk about Lou's old team with Joe Bowen next. This is OverDrive on TSN 4, TSN 1050, and the iHeartRadio app.